My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. I'm on a mission to help you have more success with plants in your own yard, and it is for that reason that I willingly share with you my horticultural knowledge. In this episode we're going to look at all the kitchen waste and garden waste and what to do with it. Now if you've got a huge lawn, this won't work, but this is very, very productive, very easy, very durable, and I've been meaning to build this for a long time and I finally got around to it. Let me show you how to build it and how it works. So what I have here is the old-fashioned compost pile, as we say in America, or compost heap, as we would say in England, and I'm never going to say that again. But typically what you have are two bays. One you add your organic matter to, and when that gets filled up to the very top, you take off the top third, maybe the top half, invert it, and put it into the empty bay. And then you can dig out what's here and use it on your garden. And then once this side gets completely filled up, you then do the same. So you switch from one side to the other. But the problem is that these units take up a lot of space. They can be quite large because people think that they are going to put in an awfully high amount of organic matter. But then they get abandoned and they don't get used. And that's why I think that the barrel is such a good idea, because you can use it, take it away, bring it back, use it, and then add another barrel to it. It's quite flexible. So what you've got with this type of unit is very traditional. It does take up a reasonable amount of space, and it does require a lot of input from you to keep loading it. Now with the barrel that I'm going to show you in just a moment, it's much smaller footprint, and with it being so high, it means that rather than you putting in all that organic matter and it going wide, it just gets taller and taller and taller, and then the weight of the organic matter helps push it down and increases the decomposition process. And finally, our little barrel is really good at holding in the heat. As you see behind me, these have got no top on them, so any heat that is created from those piles decomposing just goes up in the air. With our unit, with those side vents and the hat on top, the heat builds up and that speeds up the decomposition process, but it can also vent. So we really do have the best of both worlds. Gardeners have coveted organic matter that has decomposed for centuries. You add it to your existing plants as a top dressing and it releases its nutrients in a way that the plant can readily take up. The problem with a pile like this is that they get large with lots of leaves and lawnmower clippings, and they can very easily go anaerobic. When that happens, they start to smell bad. So the key is persevere with a pile, make sure that you can turn it on occasions to reinvigorate it with oxygen, and you'll have a lot of success. Let me show you how to make this barrel so that you can add it to your own horticultural endeavors. This is a barrel that I use to protect figs from the winter. That plant's too big and this barrel is now being promoted. You cut the end off one end and it fits over the tapered end, and it just means that you've got a nice, easy, tight fit lid. You can put it on a concrete pad. That makes it easy to keep clean and you can sweep up afterwards. I prefer putting it onto soil. That way I can get organic nutrients and microorganisms moving from the soil into my barrel. Now the first task is you need to cut a hole, and this hole is so that you can put a fork in there in time when it's busy cooking, and you can just give it a little bit of a shake and reactivate the oxygen so that it does not smell. This is your insurance against it smelling. So this hole can be circular, can be square, I don't mind how you do it. I chose to leave the top of my barrel intact and also the bottom of the barrel. So this is a true hole rather than cutting a slit from top to bottom. And the reason for that is I want to keep the barrel's integrity. I don't want it to collapse. I don't want it to overly distort. I have this handy dandy tool that I bought some years ago, and it is perfect for cutting through this heavy-duty plastic. Now take your time with this, because that piece of tapered door that you have there will be refitted. So don't cut in from the center and then butcher it. I took a minute or so just to take off the little spikes and burrs that were on the edge of that doorway. And then you need to make some wooden rails. This is some white oak I had. I do like keeping bits of wood, and this is the perfect use for it. Now you can do this many different ways, but you'll need to make sure that that lip has got an overlap of at least an inch or 12 to 15 millimeters, so that when you refasten the door in there, it won't push further. It will be held in place. You can add some clamps to just set this level. As you're assembling your barrel, do make sure that it's not under any due stress. It's not being twisted. Make sure it's level. And one of the best ways to do that is to construct it where you can with the lid on top. That will help keep it true and square. One of the nice things about this system is that rather than having one big pile, you might have a number of barrels in different locations around your property, all very easy to manage and easy to relocate. So I think this has got a lot of appeal. So with the tabs fastened, you can now see that that door needs to remain intact, because that door goes back into that area. And for the majority of that time, that door will be closed. But that's your access. You can take that door out, check the decomposed organic matter at the bottom, and if it's dark and rich and brown, it might become time to dismantle this barrel, physically rock it, shake it, lift it up, and you'll have in front of you a pile of wonderful organic matter. The material that's not decomposed gets put back into the barrel, and that starts the process all over again, and then you're probably going to end up with about half of what came out of the barrel as your top dressing. So that's still a step that you have to do. To help it vent, which helps it not smell, I drilled 3 holes 5 or 6 inches down from the top, so that when the lid is on top of it, these holes are not covered. This is important. And then I cut some notches into the base, cold air in at the bottom, and then oxygen can flow in and out and through and around. I encourage you to start off with 1 barrel. Get that process down, and you can always add more. Make sure that you add water on occasions, add some fertilizer, and then you're going to start making the ultimate garden sandwich. That is alternating layers of many different ingredients. Brown garden leaves are a great thin layer, as is green foliage from a hedge that you cut. Avoid adding many, many thick inches of lawnmower clippings, because they will slow the process down. The stuff that can go in here can be dried out before it goes in. That makes sure that it's dead. So if you're pulling out some weeds, leave them in the sun, let them fry. That was a piece of wisteria, which is the thickest stem size that should go in there. And here's some green dry wisteria shoots that have also gone into the barrel. This piece is for demonstration purposes. Although it fits, it's still too big. That piece should be cut up into a lot smaller parts. Don't forget you can add eggshells, broccoli stems, potato peelings. In fact, any vegetable matter that comes out of the kitchen can be thrown in here. And then I think a great secret is add thin layers of soil. Not a huge amount. That really gets it cooking. Don't forget to put the lid back on top, stand back, and let it do its magic. Bye for now.